he touches our view of the 20th century.
Wonderful. The boys are all here. Isn't this lovely? Hey, go, teen child.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 छुट्टी पे 10, 11.
Oh, you over here. Well. He helping you?
Yes, sometimes.
Have we got it too well here now?
Yes, that's what I was just going to tell
Oh.
you. You know, we have now this dhancha crop ever since you came. The bunding has been done.
Oh.
We have planted those bananas there.
Yes.
Those 2 compost pits have been dug.
Yes.
And then if you turn to this side.
In India, a dynamic American woman at the age of 87 is pioneering new ways and means of giving rural adults a basic education. In 1906, Welthy Fisher began her teaching career in central China. She learned the universals of teaching, of communicating with human beings of other cultures and conditions. Her goal is to furnish for those many millions who cannot read or write a fighting chance for opportunity and hopeful change. It was Mahatma Gandhi who said to her, "If you want to help India, go to the villages, for the villages are India."
And one for you and Doris.
Yes.
And one for the teachers.
There are 4
And
of
then
them.
there are 4 teachers.
Huh.
Now,
For their
we
families.
can build out of brick a little oven
Yes,
and a chimney
yes.
right out in the open.
Yes.
And cook our
As you
food.
see, we
Can't
we have put some brick temporary structures
Good.
for living
I'll
of
go
the
see.
boys. Then
Good.
we have our classes here,
Yes.
and
Good.
under the open
Lovely.
shade of the
of course,
trees.
that's fine.
Then we have planted these paddy. This paddy.
Oh, you
It is
planted the paddy.
This is all our
Oh.
paddy. You saw this barren land.
Part of every year is spent lecturing and fundraising, here at an international conference on adult education.
You know, we have to sell ideas. I feel like an advertising agent most of the time, going from place to place, selling an idea. Because literacy is a very good subject for an oration. It is marvelous. You can become so eloquent on the subject. And every president and every statesman now being elected make eloquent speeches about the 3 enemies of mankind. The first is poverty. That is appealing. And we send wheat. Poverty, illiteracy, and disease. We send everything for disease. We send everything for poverty. And we do so little for illiteracy because we say that these primary schools will take care of themselves. Just give them time. The primary schools will not supply the solution for the problem.
You have to be careful because so
Oh, yes, be careful because people are all right.
Yeah, they are so many. Why don't you take this off?
Well, I'll do as you like. I
suppose
sprayed
it'd be
my hair. It looks very bad, I
It'll
think.
look better, otherwise
Yes.
you'll lose something.
Yeah, I'll lose something.
Last time you
I
lost
lose the
it.
hat.
Yeah.
That's all right, too. Well, here are all the new babies and the old ones. These are the old ones. I heard you were ill, Mr. Franklin. I see you're well. Oh, look at the dish. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, where's the man? This is Josh Falk and Stuart Stringers. Hello. Why, they look so beautiful. All dressed up like everything. Oh, dear. Isn't that charming? All right. Well, I've got one here. Looks queer, but it's all right.
Through 60 years of active service, her goal is to furnish for those many millions who cannot read or write a fighting chance of opportunity and hopeful change.
Take it off then.
We have it. I'll hold it.
Yes, but it's dreadful looking here.
At Lucknow, in central India, on a stretch of barren land, she established a training center to bring practical education to people in remote villages. She was 72, a time when few people contemplate beginning a new venture. Over the past 15 years, a system of research, writing, publishing, new techniques of teaching have been developed at Literacy House.
Where did you get that picture?
That's
Did you do it?
Yeah.
How wonderful. Oh, lovely. How wonderful. I do thank you.
Above all,
Well, I'll
a
be
unique
smothered
team
pretty
of trained and dedicated
soon.
teachers, devoted to the idea of Literacy House and to Mrs. Fisher's lifelong cause.
I want to see the baby.
Yes, he has
Oh.
come to say you welcome.
Here he is. Oh, he's lovely. I have a little note for you from Mrs. Dale.
Okay.
Hello there. I can't believe this. So nice to see you all. All right, here we come. You know, pretty soon you won't be able to see me at all. I'll be all smothered.
This remarkable woman's concern is the whole life of the uneducated man, his family, his future.
I wrote you a letter.
In her thinking, even a little learning brings the opportunity to grow, to move ahead, to break old patterns of ignorance and rooted custom.
Yeah, take them on hot. That's right there. Oh, lovely.
The villager of India is conscious of the fact that he has capacity. He's born with capacity. He has an urge, a yearning, an ache for nurture to develop that capacity because he knows he has something within him.
The training of teachers for their work in villages is carefully planned. So are the special books and visual materials. All manner of teaching methods may be tested and used.
Puppetry all over the world has been a great feature of delight for children, but to use it as a medium for education was a new idea. The government has become so interested in our use of it that they have asked us to prepare a drama and train puppeteers to introduce life insurance to the illiterate people of the thousands of villages in this great state of UP. How could they communicate the uses and the benefits of life insurance to people who could not read or write?
Puppet shows and troops of strolling singers are ancient forms of entertainment. For a village audience, they can be as up-to-date and absorbing as films or television, teaching about family planning, child care, nutrition, village government. The villager and his wife, the local official, the rich and greedy landlord, they're universal characters in many dramas, real and imagined. Here, the idea and importance of life insurance is put to the audience. The notion of protection, particularly against the village moneylender.
The government is meeting the financial needs of this puppet team, and it has already given hundreds of performances in villages. This is a great new medium for social education throughout the illiterate world. Communication has begun. Some have come direct from poor villages surrounding Literacy House because we are in the center of many villages. The case in point is of a young woman who had a little bit of education, but we put her through the condensed course, which enabled her to become a puppeteer. She seemed to have a penchant for art and the interpretation through puppetry, and now she's on the staff of Literacy House as a puppeteer.
Most of the people in villages are illiterate. Through these puppet plays, she can educate those people who cannot read and write.
Many people ask me, well, how is this enormous campus that you have built financed? I get money from foundations, the cultural unit of the United States State Department, the Ministry of Agriculture of India. We get money from the community development projects in the great industrial city of Kanpur. And we have 23 night schools for the workers. And now the trade union people are anxious to continue our work. He wants a little education for his children, and he wants better sanitation. He wants fertilizer. He wants insecticides. He wants the things that science has produced that will help him in his work. This is functional education. We use that word functional very loosely, I think. It's got to point to something that will develop his capacity as to what he thinks he can do. And what he thinks he can do is the only thing that is in front of him, which is the soil. Other things will develop from those villages, never fear. There will be great souls coming out of these villages, great technicians coming out of these villages, great people that will have the zeal to go back to their villages.
So nice to see you again. And you have a large class. You like studying? You like to study here? Anybody that doesn't like to study here, let me see your hand. You all like to study here. Why? I'm amazed. How many days a week do you come?
आप सप्ताह में कितने बार आती हैं? 8 बार तो नहीं आती हैं।
How can you come 8 days a week?
We have a Jeep that has a large canvas on the top like the old covered wagons that used to cross my country in the early days. And they have pockets in them like our shoe pockets in our closets. And in these pockets there are books.
Once a man can read, he needs books. Books for out-of-the-way villages are hard to come by. They need to be specially written for the interest of the village reader, and this means special publication.
Last year, from that Jeep, they gave out 47,000 books and lost only about 500 books, it's estimated. But since we didn't have enough Jeeps, Mr. Shaw added kitabwalas on bicycles. And they go into villages 2 a day, which means 10 a week, ringing a bell as they go in. The kitabwalas arrived. In fact, the villages themselves named him Kitabwala.
From Literacy House, books go out in regular circulation to roadside villages and crowded country markets, wherever potential readers await them.
And it's in the marketplace of a big village. And they come from 25 to 30 villages into that same spot every week. We call it a hut. You know, it's a wonderful place to spend a day. Marriages are made there. I have a son, and you have a daughter. Well, that's, you know, we got this all arranged. And then gossip is wonderfully cheap there. And it's a great day. It's the biggest day of the week. And you must know that the smartest men of the village come there because they're the businessmen. And we discover, to our great surprise, that many of them are self-taught. And they sell their cattle and their goats and their sheep, and they sell their eggs and their chickens, and they sell the lovely homespun that the women have woven in their cottages. And they sell the pottery that they have made and the lovely colored flowers that they put on them. The villagers are interesting people. The women of the villages, I hate to tell you about the strong woman. There's one in every village. Just beware, and if you really want to know something about that village, you go find her. And if you convince her that the thing is good, the thing will be done. If you convince her that a literacy night school is going to help put food in their stomachs, it will be done. If not, it won't be.
These people sitting in front of you are all pradhans and uppradhans. That means they are the local leaders, the village leaders, duly elected representative of the local bodies of villages around Gusainganj block. These persons visit to us 10 days at a time. They stay at Literacy House, and where they get the training in the art of administrating their own villages, how to conduct the council meeting, how to start the discussion.
हाँ कहानी भूल जाइए और नाम नहीं याद रखिए तो ई राम खिलावन भाई देखा और जितने मनई बैठे हैं
The village is still the central unit of India's society. For From nearby districts, village leaders come into Literacy House for courses in local government, administration, and finance. Teachers, in turn, go to the villages with refresher courses and help in local problems. To convey the information and make it clear, they use booklets and charts designed at the teaching center.
जब आप मीटिंग में जाओगे और प्रधान कहेंगे देखो टैक्स से इतनी आमदनी ताल से इतनी आमदनी हाँ कितने का 100 रुपए का अच्छा ये बताओ साहब कैसे मालूम हो या फिर कोनो तरकीब है वही की पता लगाओ की
जो को बनाओ तो का को पंचायत में मालूम कर दिए हो
अच्छा मतलब ये है कि आपका नहीं पता
हाँ हाँ अरे आमदनी और खर्च बतावा जाए
जौन सही सही आमदनी भाई जौन सही सही खर्चा भया तो याद रखो
Literacy. What is literacy for? People tell me, oh, you're teaching them to read and write. No, I'm not. I'm teaching them to read something. We discovered the strong woman, these women that are running a whole village. Why? I said, why did you gentlemen ever elect these women to be your panchayat and run your town? And he said, well, you see, this women's association raised the money for this brick road coming into the town. And of course, we men built it. That was as it should be, of course. And then they said, you see, we have 2 wells. They raised the money for the 2 wells, we dug them. And they said, we have a primary school for girls. I said, what? A primary school for girls, not for boys? Well, they said, you see, it was like this. Wasn't this wonderful? I thought this was mature. They said, you see, the only primary school available is 6 miles away. We couldn't allow our girls to walk those 6 miles over and back every day. It wouldn't be safe or proper. But we could allow our boys to go. So we said, let's take the money that you planned for a primary school and make it for girls. And now they're raising the money for one for boys. I thought that was magnificent. And I came away with great admiration of what villages can do if they're only given a head start. Here I am. Oh, here's the gal that I've seen so Namaste. That's good.
Cooking demonstration.
Cooking?
Yes. And especially this applied nutrition program, we have this toffee. Prepared out of gram flour and coconut.
Mm-hmm.
And this,
but aren't they doing anything about books or anything of that sort? What about books? Are they reading, studying? What are they studying?
Yeah, at present, they have started, I think, only just 2 or 3 days back. But
Well, these are girls that have been here for 2 or 3 years. I know them all.
Yes, yes.
These are old friends. You must do high school.
That we
Of
can
course you
take,
must. It's
condensed
wonderful.
course. If they will pass, then next year we can have this high school condensed course
Of
also.
course.
Yes.
You see. Yeah.
Usko dekhna
That's nice. Well, let's
Shall we move then?
You'll have to arrange for the classes. You mean.
Yes.
Yes, you've got teachers enough here, have you?
At present, we require only for 6 months. Who can just
Well,
coach
maybe
these
there'll be
girls.
another group for the next 6 months.
Yes. But that, first of all, we have to see that these girls...
That's true, that's true. But
Yes.
I should think you could afford to engage her for a year.
That we can do, yes.
Oh, I think so. To make sure that these girls don't miss anything, because after having taken them so far,
So far, yes.
what a shame to let them drop, you see, after they've gotten so far.
Yes.
Even to stop for 6 months would be most unfortunate, I think. Mm-hmm. Because they need to keep going, because there's nothing in the atmosphere around in the village that helps build them up or helps them to use it, unless we could find some way for them to use it. Have the girls been doing this at all?
Yes.
The notion of a central meeting place for village women was a new one, a place reserved, clean, peaceful, to stimulate and demonstrate new skills. Literacy House has pioneered such centers and intends to see them grow.
Yes, too hot. After some time, you will take it.
Can't take a little bit now?
Yes, you can.
To somebody else?
It is too hot. Too hot, too hot, too hot.
No, no, it's not. Very good.
Shall we go then?
Now do we go? Thank you, thank you. Namaste.
place for village children as well. Kindergarten, a new idea in village life. A park or playground protected for children's use so their mothers can take time for study. Another notable woman, now a member of Parliament in New Delhi, comments on the work of Welthy Fisher.
I think she does inspire many of our women. I have very great appreciation for the work she is doing and admiration for her. She is a remarkable character. One hardly remembers she's so old. She's bubbling with enthusiasm. I have yet to find younger people with more eagerness to do things, more eagerness to cover and conquer new grounds than Mrs. Fisher. She has deep sympathy, and her friendly attitude is such that she wins over friends, she wins them over to her ideas, and she inspires people to come out and do more and more work. Our advance in the field of adult education is not at all satisfactory. Anybody who does considerable research work in this field is doing very valuable service to this country. Mrs. Fisher is very down to the ground. She understands the problem. She herself goes to the villages. She and her very devoted band of workers. They are doing immense work in finding out the correct kind of textbooks, the correct methods.
I'd like to take you to the pumping set to
yes,
see how
of
our
course.
3
Or
horsepower
do I walk
pumping
down
set.
or walk up here?
Walk up. I'll just support
Walk
you.
up here. Good.
Don't be in a hurry.
Well, it's better to be in a hurry than to...
In India, food is priority. How to increase it? Changes of method, crops, tools, all these are needed. To make the changes means understanding on the part of the villagers. To achieve understanding means education. Welthy Fisher established the Young Farmers Institute, where young farmers learn to read and write, and with these new skills, modern techniques of growing more food for their families. The Young Farmers Institute is helping to resolve the conflicts of the unschooled farmers. Such teaching gives them the key to open up prospects of new opportunity, help, and growth.
The boys have done such marvelous work in agriculture. I see all of this wonderful paddy.
Paddy,
And I'm accustomed to paddy because I once lived in China, right in the middle of it. And then you have a pump down your well so that you're getting irrigation. You've planted banana trees, so many things. But I do, and I've brought back some very good things to help you. These young men don't know that I have $6,000 in the bank for your schoolhouse for
Oh,
these
I'm
young
so
men.
glad about it.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. Then we can have the school building
Yes.
pretty soon, I
Yes,
think.
that's right. I want our people, all of them, to know how you are going to equate functional literacy that these boys are going to get with this altogether
Agriculture.
marvelous agricultural development.
No, as you know, Mrs. Fisher, this is our first venture that we are bringing illiterate boys to learn literacy as well as agriculture.
Yeah.
Now, what I have thought of is that I have divided this 10 months course for these young farmers who are illiterate in, broadly speaking, in 2 parts. One part is for 8 months, the other is for 2 months. Now, in first 8 months, for 4 hours, they come here at Young Farmers Institute
Yes.
farm. They do practicals, and in the latter half an hour to 45 minutes, they sit down just near this place, under this shady tree,
Lovely.
and they learn the theory of what they have done. Now, this will be carried over for 7 to 8 months. And after that, they'll have more of theory because they would have learned by that time how to read and
Yes,
write.
yes.
They'll have more of theory and less of practicals. Now, on the other side, in the first 7 months, what we started doing to correlate literacy with agriculture was that when they go back from this class, they were asked questions, what you have done today. On the first day, they had transplanted paddy. So they said in Hindustani, हमने धान लगाया है. So the word dhan was the key word, and the teacher said, now let us write the word dhan.
Excellent.
And then he wrote dha, na, dhan.
In India, 100 million young adults ages 13 to 21 cannot read or write. These young people are the future. Its problem and its hope.
सब मिला है
हाँ
गुलाब
हाँ
गुल मेहंदी
हाँ
गेंदा
हाँ
चमेली
हाँ
और
गुलाब
अनार।
गेंदा हाँ
नागफनी
बोले जाओ क्या हुए
बेहाया
अच्छा
जी
ठीक है
छावे
हाँ, छह हुए
जी
You know, as I think more and more about this plan, it is the most natural, functional literacy program that I've ever heard anything about. Because they're farmers already. They're eager to be better farmers. They have motivation.
But you know, what I feel is sometimes these young people, Mrs. Fisher, are those people who are left behind, those people who could not afford to have literacy because of poverty in their childhood.
Yes,
So when these people, they come here, these are mostly those young men
I know.
who couldn't have the chance to
Lovely
read and
boys,
write.
yes.
They are ready to work hard
Yes,
to learn new things
yes.
and to learn read and write.
Exactly.
But what we need is something so that we can give them also something little bit in their hand for
Yes.
their use.
Yes. We
type
must
in.
have things that they can sell.
Yes.
We'll develop
that-
eggs,
For
chicken.
that we are already, we have allotted these men land, small
Excellent.
plots, each boy
Each
separate.
boy.
Whatever they produce on that particular plot,
Yes.
which has been allotted to them,
Yes.
they'll just sell it,
Wonderful.
and the produce
Wonderful.
will go back.
Already that begins a new kind of life for these boys. Absolutely. Just that little fact. Tremendous.
I think
Self-reliant. and
self-reliance,
yes,
that's what we are
self-reliance.
trying to
yes,
teach
that's
them.
right. Educated people have often said to me, why do you disturb these lovely people in the villages? They're so comfortable. They're so happy. They have companioned with poverty. Well, if you have ever companioned with poverty, you would not want to suggest it as a remedy or as a pillar of a democracy. This will not be tolerated. And whether these educated people like it or not, there is going to be a revolution, a rising of the illiterate people around the world. They're going to demand that they have a share, not only in just casting a vote, but in also a wider contribution of government. And if you and I have been fortunate enough to have had forefathers that made an affluent society for you and me in the West, how can we but share it with the people of the world? I cannot understand how a person could hold back any more. And so I have great hope.
Oh, you all look so good. Everyone.
This is NET, the National Educational Television Network.